They're chasing now. That's a third generation, and they sent my granddaughter who owns this. They sent her a 7-page letter, a warning letter, that if she didn't stop calling cancer formula CF and discontinue making it since we've made it since 1986. You know, that's the DSHEA came in '94 and supposed to have grandfathered all of my formulas in. Well, they don't recognize their own rules. That they're not supposed to bother these formulations, these natural remedies, because they've already been in existence since pre-1954. But they ignore that and they don't care, and they ignore the disclaimers that are on every label and on every page, as if we didn't say it, and you know, as if we didn't make a disclaimer. But what we can do about this, you know, I have members internationally that contact me, and it's over 5,000 members that are calling me regularly, Skyping me, because I'm master herbalist on Skype, and they email me. My email is truman@healthherbs.com, truman@healthherbs.com. So I get these emails, I get telephone calls. My telephone is 503-362-5899. So people are contacting me from all over the world, thousands of people that and I preached about the gospel of the good news with them and diet, and I'm never charging anyone. You know, I live on donation alone, and I don't get enough donations because I help mainly the poor, and the poor don't have any money. And when they tell me, oh, I'm going to send you a donation, I ask them, are you the poor? And they say, yeah, we're struggling right now. Then I say, don't send me a donation. But if you aren't gonna, if it's not gonna hurt you to send me $5, or it's not gonna mess you up, then fine, that's great, that's okay. But if you can't afford it, don't do it. You know, and the thing that's really surprised me, Jason, is I've never had anybody of any wealth step up and say, Truman has really suffered and put his life on the line, put his family's life on the line to get out natural remedies. So I'm wealthy enough, I'm going to contribute to him. I'm going to help him help these people at no charge. Guess what, Jason? Nobody with any wealth ever stepped up. I don't think wealthy people care about other people.
Well, it's just, again, self-serving. They want to be in their own little cube. I don't need to do that. And they're really not following their true roots of whatever the particular religion is. Their possessions possess them, and they can't think anything but themselves. Now, so you have this organization. You're doing good things. Your formulas are thousands of years old. I just want you just a little heads up. The National Liberty Alliance of the United States Commonwealth Grand Jury just sent out a quo wanto to all federal judges in the districts, and including the Supreme Court, with that ruling, with that order to cease and desist, to follow or be arrested. All these things we're talking about with the FDA's authority and power will be ripped out of them, and therefore they'll be unempowered. People don't realize it, but the Food and Drug Administration was created by Theodore Roosevelt to get the poisons out of our foods, like borax and even the cocaine out of the Coca-Cola. Now it has become this beast that tells you what to do. It's like I'm in the new skin business. New Skin Incorporated is a company that does natural remedies and is scientifically proven. But again, we are under the same chain that we can't say it will cure, heal, or prevent your condition. But one thing we do have to confront these mental morons is a testimony. Testimonies are very important because, like, for example, I'm a cancer survivor for the last 30 years. And had I had my ingredients with new skin, like Lifetime Nano goes down to the lower levels of the to the cells, I would have never gotten my prostate cancer 8 years ago. And people don't realize it. It's hard. It's hard to be on a diet of food, especially when the food is so mass-produced that it lacks. It has 50% of the nutrition that it had 7 years ago. People don't realize that.
Yeah, and no minerals.
Right?
Yeah, our soil is mineral deficient, has been since the early 1900s.
1900s.
Yeah.
What minerals would be needed in the soil?
All of them. You need all of the minerals, and which is the reason why people need to be using things like Himalayan pink salt that's loaded with minerals. They need to be using kelp and seaweed, that are loaded with minerals. Also iodine to help them against radiation poisoning. But we're not allowed to say any of those things. So we're not allowed to warn people and explain the values of these wonderful foods that have minerals or that are loaded with B vitamins or etc. That's all it's all verboten in Nazi America now.
Yeah. Well, the thing gets me. Don't we have the First Amendment to speak and address grievances? I mean, if you're speaking the truth, well, that shouldn't be prevented you from saying that this is a cure that's 1,000 years old. But then you're gonna go back and say, well, that cure didn't work. Excuse me, how can you prove that it's not? But again, in the non-pharmaceutical industry of supplementals, you can say that a product has X and has no Y in it, because again, there's no standardization of proving that those products will do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand a portion of that. I mean, it has to be quality control and standards. But
yes.
to the point where these known products or these known herbal ingredients are there, and why won't they let? I mean, it's a historical fact. Why aren't they letting these historical facts speak for itself?
Yeah, because it's too it's too important for them to know that, and that, so they are, it's just they got a Chinese mentality that people just need to be controlled, dumbed down, and slowly murdered to feed the pharmaceutical industry's greed. That's it. Simple. So what happened here, Jason, is that when that FDA attorney Josh Burg called me from Washington, D.C. and demanded that I sign a false admission of guilt, that my products were considered drugs and that I'm guilty, and I realized that I was being targeted by the tyranny of the FDA's criminal extortion racket, because that's how they get money out of people. And they go around ruining little companies that can't afford to defend themselves, and that's their criminal extortion racket. So I sued them and I ran out of money in 3 months. I lost all my assets, and I tried to obtain a home loan, a home loan modification from Bank of America, and they stole my home of 20 years. I wasn't doing too well there, Jason.
No.
And then
just a little point of information for anyone out there. Any bank that is out there needs to have the original promissory note. Any copy that they have is null and void, because you need to have the original. And when they do these, it's called electronic transfer rates, mortgage, electronic service access, I think it is, MASA. All these data are turned into the digital form, and they are not reproducible in the original. I destroy the original. You should look into what lies in your debt, see how they can help you, because if they stole that house and they wouldn't give you a modification, that's a violation of what they're supposed to be doing. But again, all our loans are paid for in 72 hours, comes out of our trust, which was created by the Vatican back in the 1300s during the First Inquisition. If the person died, they got the property. But it's something to look into is the trust that they rob us daily. Back to you, Truman.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was a victim of the Bank of America home loan modification scam. Which of course they got bailed out. They stole money from people, then they get bailed out. Besides, they're stealing more money because the government bails them out and so forth. But anyway, finally, you know, the FDA won that case. That I sued them, and then they sued me, and I couldn't defend myself, and they won again. But then on September 24th, they hauled me into federal court and charged me with contempt of court. And I entered the courtroom without an attorney, all alone. There I am. I'm looking at that FDA Nazi attorney, Josh Burg. And I apologize to the Honorable Chief Judge Ann Aiken. She's the Chief Judge of the Western United States, and she was presiding that day. And I apologize to her for not having an attorney and not understanding court protocol. So the judge asked the FDA attorney what he wanted. And Mr. Burke said that I continued to own and operate an herb manufacturing facility in contempt of court. And I replied, that's not true. And I produced a bill of sale and an affidavit of assets that stated that I received nothing from the new Health and Herbs in Albany, Oregon, which is now owned by which was then owned by my daughter, and she changed everything and did all these things to comply with the FDA, and in 6 months she went broke and sold it to her daughter, my granddaughter, so that's who's actually running it today. But anyway, I let them know that, you know, that I didn't own it, and I proved that I didn't own the website, and I didn't own anything there. And, you know, I said that, then he said, well, okay, because I proved I didn't, with affidavits and bills of sale. And then he said, well, that I own and operate that herbalhealthreview.com, and that I'm in contempt of court because it has all kinds of information that I'm not supposed to be telling anybody. And I replied,
let me just say, contempt of court. How can you be in contempt of court when there was no court to be held? Are you in contempt of court when you're doing your trial on September 24th, 2013? Or was he making it his contempt of Washington, D.C., which only has a 10-mile radius?
Well, they're claiming that
Yes, sir.
They're claiming
I've been trying to let you know. An unknown phone number keeps calling, and I can't answer it.
I don't see it. Well, it's an unknown caller. I don't see it coming in, and they drop out.
Well, you're not seeing it, but I see it on my screen, and Skype won't let me answer it. So whoever it is who's going to be calling into your show, they need to unblock their phone number or something.
All right.
Or, you know, I can call them back, but I can't call an unknown phone number back because there's nothing to dial. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get a lot of those.
In the last 5 minutes, I was waiting for a spot where I could interrupt and ask you if you you know. I have John's number, and we'll call him at the top of the hour. I'll drag him in through Skype, as well as your other guests. But during the break, you might want to tell whoever's trying to call in that their phone number's blocked. And I was trying to push add to the group, and it wouldn't let me for whatever reason.
Well, if the number is not known, it's going to a zero zero holder. So well, thank you, Rick.
Yeah, so whoever that is who wants to talk to you, if you're listening to my voice right now, you've got your phone set to block so that it shows up. Here it is again.
Well, so that person is
I'm trying to answer it. Hello, caller?
being a bad server, literally.
No, well, what I'm saying is if that person is listening right now and trying to call into you, you need to go into your phone settings and take it off, hide your number. Otherwise, you won't be able to call in, or you need to type the number of the person to me, and I'll call them, and we'll bring them on, whoever it is.
Great. Thank you so much, Sir Rick. That's what I said, yes. Back to you. At 2:50, we have another 5 minutes before we have to go to break.
Okay, where we left off, Jason, was that they were holding me in contempt of court, and what they were holding me in contempt of court for was when they won the case that I sued them, and they won that one. Then they sued me, and they won that one because it was a no fair contest. I was broke, so they just sued me, and they won that one. So that's what they were holding me in contempt of, is you know, of the